mystery, right? We always want to know what's on the other side of that wall.
It's fucking scary, I'm not gonna lie. Come on now.
First, at the beginning, our interaction with them to some sort of a higher dimensional place. Are we alone, and what happens when we die?
And now for something completely muonic.
GM. Welcome to Space in the Deep, episode 26. I'm your muonic host, Eric, the Overtone, and we've got two amazing people with us today. If you guys tuned in last week, we had Jake Wave and we also had Rain on last week. We were missing Jake today, so we've subbed in our good friend Anaroth. If you guys don't remember Anaroth, I think it was like maybe 5-6 episodes of Space in the Deep ago. Anaroth joined us for an audio-only episode and talked about his role at Atrium. Atrium is an animation studio that we've been working with for, I don't even know, months. Maybe like 4, 5, 6 months. We've gotten tight with them. We've really started to understand each other and gotten into a nice flow. And they've been absolutely integral to bringing Ebert to life. Any of the animations that you see, any of the movements that you're seeing Ebert actually come to life through, you can credit Atrium for that. And Anaroth is really the person behind organizing each of these individual projects on like a very granular scale. He's there for communication, he's there for feedback, he's there for support. So I'm really psyched to have him just because his knowledge of the space is it feels like he's been in the space for way longer than he actually has. And then when it comes to animation, I could say the very same. So I'm going to jump over to the three of us. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got Birdathon stuff. We've got Anaroth coming on as a guest. We've got a couple of announcements. And then we're just flowing as we normally would do with Space in the Deep. So let's jump over to our friends. Okay. I'm just going to have to reorganize our windows here because we have... You guys will, no, it was a little jump. You guys will see it on the stream in probably like, I don't know, 5 seconds, but it's, let's get Anaroth in here. And then I'm going to get Rain in here too. Let's see, there's Anaroth. There he is. Okay. Got to do it live. All right. So Anaroth's in, and then I'm just going to do a quick little copy paste, and then Rain will be in as well. So, my friends, welcome to Space in the Deep, episode 26. We called this one Break the Simulation. I've been titling our episodes, has felt a little bit more appropriate to do that. So, this one's called Break the Simulation, and we're talking about all different sorts of things today. But I think that to get us started, this is the second live episode we've ever done. We're still trying to figure out kind of how this is all supposed to work. Anaroth and I were talking about before the difference between doing a live show and doing an audio-only show. Like a live show with video and motion graphics and all this stuff. And Rain, you're really familiar with this shit, but I'm not as much. So I think that we're still finding a flow. But last week, we had, to be honest, probably one of my favorite episodes of Space in the Deep ever. Rain shared his story, and also, you know, he shared his whole backstory from when he was a kid, and it was just one of like the deepest, realest fucking episodes of Space in the Deep I think I've ever experienced. It was the 25th episode. It's the first time we were ever live and trying to do this together, and it was just, it like everything just came together, and it really felt like we kicked this off on the right note. So thank you again, Rain, for last week. I know that there have been a couple of clips online circulating, but there's no pressure to make every episode that deep. Actually, I think it's better if they're not, but I think that there's a lot of things we can talk about today. I think that, you know, Anaroth and Rain, like you guys both have experience in all different sorts of the entertainment world. So I think first and foremost, Anaroth, let's kick it over to you. Let's just kind of intro yourself for the group. Just kind of, you know, let people know what you're up to. Let people know what your role has been with Who Is Ebert and how we found each other.
The video format more already. Like, I think where you're trying to go just makes more sense. So happy to be here. My name's Anaroth, or Nathan. I'm one of the original members for Atrium, which started almost, I guess, 2 years ago now, which is an animation production platform. And my role as a non-animator or non-engineer is to help people understand that animation has become significantly more accessible than what most people believe. could argue very easily that people don't try and create their own animation project like they would a normal like film project, because they don't even know where to start. They don't think it's attainable. All they hear are like big budgets and everything else. And I think as we find ourselves in this era of agency, we need people that are helping those that want to take action understand the possibilities they have for themselves. And I think this space as a whole, you guys were just talking about how like last week was the first week you're trying something new and you're finding these new people that want to try those new things with you. This space just has those people gravitate towards each other, so you feel like you can accomplish more. And I think it's really easy to parlay that feeling into action for other people when you provide them the right tool. So, Eric came over, he talked about Ebert, we hopped on a call, and before we even really knew, like, hey, we'll probably do some shorts or something, like, we'll figure it out, but I'm like, let's just talk real quick. Like, if I'm going to be working with you for the next, like, 3.5, 4 months, or whoever knows how long, like, let's just hop on a call. I think our first call was, like, 2 hours long, just, like, bullshitting back.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to swear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Talk to Rain for 5 minutes and you'll understand.
And just like, it was really interesting to see like, okay, like we need to work together and we know we can create something a little bit more. And I think our feedback loops, our planning stages, like I think like one of the big conversations I remember having us early on is like, you only get to launch once. Are you ready for that moment? And I feel like a lot of things kind of shifted after we had that conversation. You're like, not yet, but we're getting there. And what you've done these last 3 months or so, like from that, I think is a really big testament to like how serious you are about this, like how passionate you are about this. I also think it's a really good way to show other people, like, what does it mean to take action on an idea that you're passionate about? Because even if you do say like, hey, I am going to do this, it's nice to see someone else that's already done it. So you can look on from outside and be like, you know what, I can try that. So like my goal is like whenever I meet one of those people, I think my job, my focus, whether it's actually my job or not, is I want to help that person feel really good about what they're going to accomplish. Because creating something on your own is hard. You need people that are going to support you. You need people that are going to challenge you. Because at the end of the day, I just don't want you to make the thing that you wanted to make. I want you to make the best version of the thing that you didn't even know you wanted to make yet. Because that, if I get to help you make that, you will always come back.
Yeah.
For anything that you need afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think in the entertainment industry, like relationships and how you communicate to understand what the other person wants and if it's capable or not is such a huge part of producing the quality content that our space so desperately needs. It takes effort and attention. So I'm stoked to be working with you. I've had a great time these last few months. And I really just hope like more big things in the future.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
It's been amazing. And I think one of the coolest things you said is I don't want to just help someone make the thing they want to make. I want to help you make the best thing you didn't even know you could make. You know, it's so true, because I think the difference between those two things, and I've worked in really in the client services business for a long time, doing post and deliverables and making shows and all these things. Normally, I think in traditional industry, like it's always just okay, let's just make the thing that's on the page. Let's make the thing that they are asking us to make. Really no more than that. We don't need to go outside the bounds of exactly what they're asking us to do within the scope of work. Great, let's deliver it. Okay, on to the next thing. When I started working with you guys over at Atrium, what I realized when I talked to Supriyo, who's the founder of Atrium, is that there's almost like a vetting process, and it's very, very non-official. It's not like, okay, you have to fill out this form, and in the event we want to work with you, then we'll reach out. It's more of like, what are you making? Why are you making it? And then talking to you as an individual and kind of getting a sense for like, okay, is the juice worth the squeeze or not? And I think that any animation studio like Atrium is basically boasts this really great roster of animators and 3D generalists and compositors and VFX specialists and all of these people. Now, if you're going to deploy those people onto projects, they want to make sure that they're working on stuff that they can be proud of too. So it's like you have this big responsibility
that they're proud of. They want to work with people that aren't trash.
Yeah.
Right? Because like they came from an industry where they got treated like shit.
Yeah.
Like as a whole,
that's why I'm here.
Everyone knows the animation industry is not the best work-life balance atmosphere. So it's twofold, right? It's, yeah, we want to vet the animators and people coming in. Like, we don't, just because you can animate doesn't mean you get to be part of Atrium. No. You get really good social skilled animators that can have a conversation, that can do that. And then once they're there, you say, like, just so you know, I hope you never have to use any of those skills. That's why we have other people there to help manage it. But I'm glad that you know it because it's going to help you communicate with our partners. Great. Then you meet good people that have some money that want to create this really passionate idea. So you have this animator who just wants to work on great, passionate stuff. This artist who's like, fuck yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. So what is the natural conclusion when someone who is not a trash human works with an animator who is not a trash human and very excited? A better possibility. So it's not that we're like shucking no's everywhere left and right, but I think because of the talent we have and because of the talent we sought after, the people that come and find us that get to work with them and see their body of work, like it almost like sets you as a better foundational level than you would have had otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, I'm sure if like some like random person came and said like, we'll give you $10 million to make a movie, and like maybe he's an asshole, we're probably gonna make that movie. That's different. But like in general, I think so much can be said for creating a really good relationship work environment focused on the creativity of the thing. Mm-hmm. And when everyone in a little group is aligned on those things, that's where you get the best work we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And I think the benefit of Atrium there is like everyone that works with us has their own little silo of creative like combustion. And it's just like this little 5 group of people who are there to try and like, how do I help make this the best version of whatever?
Yeah.
So.
We're going to have, so we've worked with a few people from Atrium, and a couple of them have agreed to come on and do some like live behind the scenes with us, which is really exciting because then we get to dive into things that I think are not overly technical, but then I think seeing behind the curtain in that way is really exciting, kind of in real time, because so much of of what we're doing is developing in real time. So much of what we're making is happening right now. Having someone come in who's like, hey, we just did VFX for this shot, and this is what the shot looks like, and this is what making this shot actually looked like. That's a really exciting thing too. So you kind of have this connection with the people you're working with. And you're right. Like I just think that, high caliber people, high caliber artists need to be working on high caliber work, and there needs to be some sort of a non-official vetting process to do that. That's something that you would see in the traditional industry too, but it's just a little different here because you have people like myself, which kind of Atrium empowers people like myself to actually make what they want to make. And the fact that we're making it as well as we're making it means that they have artists who actually give a shit about what they're making, and they can really, like, I've really developed a great relationship just collaboratively with Blizzy, who's our animator, and he like, you can tell that he wants it to be really good too. He's not just like, taking notes and pumping it. He's like, no. Okay, so how can we do this? How can we rediscover what we're doing? Do we need to reinvent something here? Do we need to find a technical solution for this? So someone who's like really involved in making it work and trying to make the thing that you want to make brings that, whatever is in your head, it gets it that much closer to what you're imagining. So
a quick shout out to Blizzy, by the way.
Yeah,
because
fucking legend.
I've been with him for like a little over 2 years now, and just like seeing, I don't even know, like growth is right. Like he's just like a different man at this point. Like I can only imagine what it feels like for him being this young dude that like stumbles into this animation job, and now you're just like pumping out content while he's in school. Like, living his life, like doing his thing. And I'm
craziest
just
side hustle ever.
Dude, like, shout out the rest of your life, Blizzy. Like, good for you.
I told him, I was like, look, dude, if you went into this, if you really went into this, you would be in high demand. Like, you really would be in high demand. And I'm not just saying that. Like, Ebert's movement, the way that he looks, the way that he moves, everything that you see, and like, you guys have both seen the POC film, like, that's because of Blizzy. Like, it is the way that it is because of Blizzy. We loved working with Umeshu. We have nothing to say bad about Umeshu, but they didn't get us to that point. They got us really far. They helped us really model and rig Ebert. But then when Blizzy came in, it's like this really fresh creative voice came in who had like a really solid technical foundation. And I was like, shit, like, you can do so many things technically that I have no idea how to do. And I can try my best to, like, you should see, like, I mean, you've seen some of the crude mock-ups that I've had of, like, basically pasting things over and keyframing them in Resolve. It's ridiculous, but directors do what they do just to like get the message across. And every single time I've done that and talked through it, he's like, I understand what you're trying to do. I got you. No problem. Like, I understand what you're seeing. My eyes are your eyes right now. I got you. And every single time it's been like, yep, there it is. So like, that's a beautiful thing. And I think that for people in the audience and for people who are here, finding those types of artists in any project early on, like this is the first thing we're really making. A lot of people in the audience have probably seen earlier versions of the proof of concept film. But I think that what we've found is really key players who will help us to continue to evolve not only the movement and the story of Ebert, but like the whole world of what we're seeing. And the fact that they're so familiar and intimate with the work we're doing now, I mean, you can't even imagine how much more eloquent it's going to get.
The world thing is very interesting to me. Like when you talk about like building out an entire ecosystem, an entire world, an entire platform, because I think it's interesting that like Atrium is almost like building like a playbook.
Mm-hmm.
What that means on digital first IP. And like obviously there's Quack, where like Meat Quack, Lightning in a Bottle, W. We love Meat Quack, Quack and Lola. But seeing that success and then doing it in this space and being able to talk through that playbook for other people is so much information that like I didn't even realize is valuable when you're trying to talk through potential pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, like that makes a lot of sense, because I don't think anyone goes in just expecting their IP to blow up. You have to work on it. You have to get a little bit of luck. You got to find the right magic together. But I think knowing there is a plan, knowing there's some sort of foundation that allows you to take like a really good swing, like have a really good at bat to make, hey, can I break through a little bit? Like that's something I think about a lot now, in like how we're able to set someone up to do a little bit better. Yeah. And then like how does that translate into other brands? Like I would say this is actually the easy part. You're creating a brand from scratch, and like there's this opportunity to like coalesce people around a new vision, a new life, a new ecosystem, a new character. I really think it's only a matter of time until brands just be like, wait, I can have them just make me a character and pump out content twice a week for my brand, and like it'll be less than my marketing budget now. Why are we not doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does Coca-Cola not have a mascot? Like, they have the Bears, but like, if they really want to just have like some dude drinking Coke, hanging out, doing his stuff, like, it would be very easy to make that person super relatable. Like, yeah, I want to do that. And they would get a ton of shares, tons of likes. People would enjoy it. Like that is such an easy miss, because it's not new spend. It's a change in ad spend from something that's already allocated to those people. And that switch is something that I'm waiting to see happen. And when that happens, I actually think there's going to be a lot more use. Like straight up, Eric, like when people see that happen on a larger scale, I think it will motivate more people to be like, wait a second. Like, why is this so much easier to create now? Like, why is this so much more accessible? Like, what was I missing? What did I do? And I think that all these people that are going to start figuring out that there are ways to make really good, unique content. I don't know if now is a good time to talk about it, but one of the things, I don't know if you saw the thing that Sapiro posted the other day that talked about like the state of animation right now, and like how IPs need to think about like what is working, talks about like the merch line and everything else. And I don't know if now is a good time to kind of touch on that, but like in general, like as you think about building out Ebert, I think like that whole global view of it's the animation, but it is also like, what does that animation allow us to actually create long term that makes it sustainable for us?
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting too.
Oh yeah,
and I think being able to have that and then leverage it towards the future as you're building an IP. Like,
yeah, no, that was his perspective on things is so crystal clear, and I think that he's had kind of a bird's eye view of the independent animation industry, kind of, you know, not going up against, but also kind of rising in parallel with big industry, making really big things and having success or not having success. And I think that his perspective on things is something that I really value, because you know, he's sent me resources that are like, oh fuck, I didn't even think of that. You know, he sent me something from Jellybox the other day that was like, oh, like they really broke down. They really broke down.
That's
Like,
what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's so
exactly.
good.
Like it broke down. Okay, what are things cost? Like a 22-minute episode of animated TV usually costs anywhere from about $600,000 to $1 million, right? So if you're trying to make a pilot, you're usually in for, I'd say, on the higher end of that, because there's always stuff to learn and there's usually a lot of things to make in order to even just make
Character
the episode.
design. You have to like animation doesn't start when the animation happens.
No.
Right? Like it starts when you start designing your character.
Our
the
community
first
knows
time.
that.
So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, like people know, like they're like, oh, I just want 30 seconds. Like, cool, you only want 30 seconds, but I need to do the work to get your 30 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
after more than that, like then we can start reusing certain things.
Yep,
Sure.
exactly.
But to build it from scratch, you got to get started. Like,
Yeah. And I think that's why, like, the 3D animation industry, as it kind of like finds its way and weaves its way into Web3, I think that we're all still trying to figure out the best way to do this, because not only do we know how expensive it is, but we know the time involved in making stuff. We know that not every IP is going to be an IP you should pursue to make. You know, in the Muon structure, like as you guys know, Muon is kind of the umbrella company for all the IPs that we make. Muon owns Who Is Ebert. You know, Muon will own every character we make, and every character we make will be tokenized, right? So then people who are owning that token, people who buy it on the open market, anybody gets a cut of every dime that IP makes, which is, for us, that feels like the real clean and novel way of not only pulling funding into the IP that you're trying to develop, but also pulling real interest into what you're trying to make. So like, I think we're starting to see different iterations of what this process looks like, because it's not just going to be a clean, okay, we're going to take the animation industry and we're just going to pull it on chain. It's not, it's way more complex than that. And I think that
putting it on chain is, I mean, please don't like yell at me, Jesse Pollock, but like just putting it on chain is such a minimal and lazy view of what bring the world into like understanding crypto is. Like, if you just bring people on, they're still going to experience and see the things that everyone gives crypto shit about. Like, they're still going to see all that. You're going to have more people seeing that. Like, what we need to do is change the way people view crypto. And whenever someone asks me, like, why do you participate in crypto? Like, why are you in this thing? Like, because it's opportunity. That is how I see crypto. I see it as opportunity to collaborate with other smart motherfuckers, opportunity to build a business with other people, opportunity to get inspired by the people. Yes, opportunity to make money. All of those things. Like, well, those things exist elsewhere. Yes, except it's saturated with a whole bunch of people who are already there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to take a risk to search out opportunity to find what is next for me.
Yeah.
And I think so many people would love to participate in an environment like that if that's what they heard and saw when they participated in it. And giving people entertainment, giving people something to cheer on, seeing it as this blend of Web 2 and Web 3, but giving them an opportunity to invest in something that they appreciate is different. And like when you talk about, you know, Muon being the parent company and you have Ebert and these other things, and the idea is like, yeah, you buy in, you support it, kind of like a stock, right? Like you're buying a stock of a character, whatever it is. And if I go back to like, I'm dating myself because I'm turning 40 this year, but like I remember when E-Trade first became a thing. And like my dad started trading stocks for the first time. Like you couldn't do, like people don't realize, like you couldn't trade stock. You had to call a broker and be like, motherfucker, buy this for me.
Yeah. Yep.
What? Like, no. And I think we're very much getting to a point now where people start seeing the opportunities that exist here very similarly to those first people who were like, wait, I can do this shit myself. I don't need you anymore. I can just go direct to someone else. And like that moment is happening for entertainment, animation, and all of these other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a little longer for us to get there because initially, kind of like that Jellybox video, like Web3 just said, just let me make animation. And that was it. There wasn't really this plan of like, how do I make it sustainable? Like, where is the flywheel actually coming from? And they're like, well, just put it on chain and the flywheel happen. Like,
It's not that
really
simple.
how it works like that.
Yeah.
The slow build IP is the success for every IP. The difference now is that, as you said, like people can buy into Ebert, they can buy into anything else, they can buy into what the next Star Wars, if you will. And for a tokenized, financialized economy, which is what a lot of us participate in right now, that makes just as much sense as the broker who used to go through somebody else and then realized he could do everything on his own in E-Trade. So, like, I think historically, what you want to find are those E-Trade moments, the Web3 moments, like when an industry gets accessed for the first time, that is where you're going to find opportunity to do more things.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just recognized this the other day when I was talking to people about options and talking about like stocks. I'm like, I didn't even think about like how wild it was 20 years ago that you could just do this thing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And crypto, blockchain, like whatever you want to talk about, like I actually see a lot of that happening right now. And I think that's why you're starting to see like, as people become successful, like if I made it really big, like I hit a trade, whatever it is, you know, I'm going to be building more things here. And I think whatever this next super cycle is for crypto, I think you're going to see a lot of entertainment, a lot of new companies, a lot of startups. Like, as much as everyone was like, oh, 2021, cool. That was on like NFTs. Like, I believe the next bull run is going to be about infrastructure and entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone who makes it that cycle has already been here for like 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm going to build shit. And I have a network to do it now because I have the relationships that I made over these last 3 to 5 years.
Which take time.
It's not the company
exactly.
today,
3 to 5 years.
It's the company tomorrow.
It takes time, you know, and that's the thing. It's like the short-term narrative plays they're gonna go away, and it's not, you know, and that's not a bad thing. It helps, you know, a certain subset of people, but I think that real investing and like investing into real businesses is I think it has to be the natural evolution to where we're going in Web3. Like it literally just has to be, or else we're going to be doomed to the digital casino for the foreseeable future. I think that the people who have been building and the people who have been, you know, kind of understanding that big things do take time to build, to me, I've really been trying to push that noise aside. I think that Rain is a really perfect person to ask this question because Rain has been in Web3 for a long time and also has, I think, seen and been a part of the gaming sector really coming into the Web3 space and starting to develop real games in Web3, like real video games. And I think that, you know, there are a few that like, I mean, Rain is involved in a game called Boss Fighters, for example. If you look at any of Boss Fighters' content, it's a real video game, and they've been working on it for years, you know, and like they have a big audience and a big community, and he's been part of that since the very beginning. So he's seen what this kind of phase shift looks like. This, not a mass exodus from an industry, but an opening of the door into new opportunities to develop things that have been developed in a specific way for a very long time. So Rain, I wanted to kick it over to you because you've seen the evolution of this process, and now you're part of Who Is Ebert, which is really, I'd say, in the early part of this kind of long-term IP development wave of like the entertainment industry coming into Web3. So like, long-term perspective, like, you know, you saw this happen in gaming, you know, and what can you say at this point as far as like, you know, the entertainment world coming into crypto and trying to do things like we're doing, and what do you think the future looks like for that, you know, these real businesses that are trying to build here?
Wow, man, great question. First off, Anaroth, love the passion, love, you know, the flair, love the commitment to your team. You know, and it kind of boils down to, you know, there's a lot of ways to really attack this question. But, you know, Bert, and I'll say this, what's really led to my success is something very, very simple. And it happened basically just because, so I've been in crypto for about, fuck me, dude, I don't even know. I'm getting old. Probably like 8-9 years now, roughly.
Oh, you're no G like Jake.
Yeah, man, dude, it's been a wild ride, bro. But like the big thing is, you know, with crypto and what investors see in crypto, because see, it's all a trickle down effect, a waterfall effect. You know, it's to do anything in crypto, you got to have money, right? Where does the money come from, right? Money comes from the VCs, money comes from the holders, the token volume, the the platforms that you're able to get the token listed on, the transaction fees and the agreements that you have associated with that, etc. So where does the money come from? Well, with crypto, what it did initially with the industry being so volatile was that it set these industry standards that we see in Web 2, where it's like, oh, yes, I'm willing to make, an investment with a potential 10-year return, 20-year return, 30-year return, to now I'm looking for a 2x in 6 months, and I don't give a fuck what happens to your project after 6 months. I just doubled my company's net worth in 6 months. And, fuck you, whatever happens to your project, fuck it. You got your money to start it. I just tanked everything by dumping your token. That's why, all these SAFT agreements started happening. Because, and if you guys don't know what SAFT agreement is, obviously not you guys, but the audience there, basically a SAFT agreement, to keep it, super, super simple. Basically, it's so, hey, I give you $5 million up front. With a percentage of that in equity is also token holdings. And in this agreement, I cannot dump all the shit I'm getting. I cannot, immediately sell the equity, immediately sell the tokens, etc. It's over like a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year vesting schedule. Okay. So that's where it is now. Now, the big thing, again, that has led to my success, and it's really fucking funny, is that I just hyper focused on all the projects that I've worked with and, I've built and developed. And Anaroth, just a little bit of background, man. I've done it fucking all. I've served as, a CEO for, $1 million companies, CTO, CMO, social media strategist, community growth management, development, monetization, sales pipeline, revenue guy, fucking all of it. And what happened was when I got into crypto, I was like, okay, I love this independent ownership, get out of the corporate fucking hell and, making money for all the fucks out there that just want to make a quick buck and actually create something of value. And so my passion with video games, where it started, a little more background, not too much, but I was a professional player for multiple esports titles. I was a professional esports broadcaster. So like League of Legends, Valorant, CSGO, every fighting game in the world you can imagine. You probably see clips of me. You go look up some main event, you'll see me getting hyped, screaming, going ape shit. And then partner content creator on every platform too. So like I did all the content stuff, had the big partnerships, all that. I still do, obviously, but basically popped the hell off. And what it really gave me an insight to that part of the industry was like none of these IPs, specifically with gaming, and I'll bring it in entertainment here in a second, but in gaming is no one gives a fuck about the community. No one gives a fuck about the community. When you have an IP, and I always use example, Call of Duty, that has, the first of its kind, the first graphics of its kind for a FPS shooter game, where you built this IP, you delivered a fantastic game, being Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the first ever. People just buy and buy and buy every single new release you do every single motherfucking year. And what's happening now is, and it's very similar in the entertainment industry with Disney, you can only ride that IP and fuck your community over so many times where they're finally tired of getting drained for the same shit over and over again. And also that these entities are not listening to their community. Because now with the development of social media, with the development of Web3 and everything, what I love about it, and again, I'll get into all this stuff now, is that community is the most important thing. Hands down, any project, anything you're building, a product, a service, etc., you have to cater to your community. You have to provide real, tangible goals, roadmap, whatever you want to call it, and you got to be able to deliver on that. And if you do that, I remember I told Eric, I call him Bert, but again, I see the name Eric. It's hard for me to fucking say Bert now. I told Eric in the very beginning when we started working together, I said, Eric, man, fuck everything you're doing. Like, this IP is incredible. Ebert has captivated me. I love the story. I love the essence of this. Fuck paying money to do this shit. Fuck paying money to do that shit. Fuck paying money to boost volume, token, strategy, all this shit. Fuck all that. Just focus on the community. Focus on the community. Give the people what they want. Start doing these birdathons. Start doing these X spaces. Started doing all this awesome, captivating stuff. And I guarantee you, you look at the exponential growth of the community, it is absolutely skyrocketed. And it's becoming very parabolic, because the beauty of it is once you build a strong foundation of a community, it grows by itself, especially in the world that we live in with direct marketing. So in my first entrepreneurial business that I owned like 15 years ago, we focused on door-to-door sales, which is, if anyone's ever done that, hell of a job, fucking absolute hell. Like, you would have become a great salesman, go knock on random people's fucking doors, trying to convince them they need something.
The cold approach.
Great for just learning how to deal with rejection.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, straight up. Like
exactly, bro. And so like I'm gonna shift in the entertainment aspect now. But with that, what made me very successful in that entity was what I told, all my employees and stuff was like, don't try to sell anything to people. Try to help them. Find a solution for them. If this is actually going to benefit them, if they're paying, because what we did was we partnered with AT&T services. So basically the goal was we come in there, if they're paying $300 for Comcast or whatever the fuck, we can give them way more at half the price, easy fucking sale.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you come in, you find out that they're not happy, you give them a solution. And the turnover rate is way fucking better. You're spending, 10 minutes to get a no rather than an hour to try to fucking bust your ass to try to get a yes that isn't meant to be. And so then overall productivity increases. So getting into the entertainment aspect now, and the importance of, the shift where it's going. The quality, it's very easy to succeed. And this is going to sound, and I'll explain why, but it is very, and I've said this to Eric from the get-go, and I have proof in the pudding of all my projects I'm partnered with and I work on and I've developed and or I consult for. It is so fucking easy to succeed in Web3 right now. It is so fucking easy. As long as you build something with quality, because there is so much shit. There's so much absolutely ass, low effort fucking shit, and people are tired of it. And now, not to get political, but again, just to break this down, obviously with the Trump administration and the USA adoption of crypto and the acceptance of all that, you're getting a massive influx of Web2 users. And so let's say, Anaroth, you haven't ever been in crypto before. You come into crypto and you see, big dick token. All right, we'll call it big dick token. And it is a fucking Microsoft Paint logo image with a voiceover of a guy just yelling big dick. All right. You see it as a Web2 user. All right. Coming into crypto. Immediately you're going to be like, what in the fuck is this shit? Like, this is absolutely ass. Why are people putting money into this? This doesn't make any sense. Vice versa. Let's say you come on into crypto first time. You love film. You love animation. You see Ebert. You're like, holy shit. This absolutely fucking shits on everything I've seen. I have the experience and knowledge of animation and IP and Web2, specifically in the film industry. I'm all fucking in. I'm all in. These guys are building something real. They're doing something that makes sense, and they're delivering upon the promises they make to their community. So in my opinion, I'm very bullish on Ebert. I am in this cycle coming, I would be shocked if we don't, get to at least 50 million market cap, just to put that bluntly out there. And I never talk about numbers specifically with Eric, because as a founder, I try to make sure he doesn't look at charts. I think that charts can be very stressful and demotivating. And when it happens, right? So the entertainment as a whole, we're definitely like crypto with video games specifically. We've already seen the video game shift where you've seen independent studios in gaming make a fuckload of money. You see Pal World, they came out of nowhere, made $500 million. You've seen, Valheim, game made with $200,000, generate over, $175 million. You've seen Repo, that game just came out like 2 months ago. They made it on a $30,000 budget. They've generated over $40 million in revenue. And it's because these independent studios, these independent entities, these independent IPs are just building a quality product and giving people what the fuck they want. And that's where we're at now. People want just what they want. They don't want the bells and whistles. They don't want to have to do microtransactions or play or pay for something that's incomplete, or have to do like the gaming thing. Fortnite fucked it up with this open beta forever shit. They've been around for like 12 years now, and it's an open beta. So every game is trying to be open beta forever, which is basically like a fucking, you have you have an above ground pool, and when a hole comes in, you just put tape on it and say, oh, it's a beta. It's supposed to be shitty. It's just a shit that happens. It's okay. And we're at the point now where, because of the increase in quality and the success in the quality of projects that are happening and developing, that anybody, again, who is making, especially in the entertainment industry, and I love it. Oh, I fucking love it. So Ebert knows how I feel about all the live action movies from Disney. God, it makes me so mad. I hate a live action movie. I don't know how you feel as an animator, bro, but it just seems like the laziest fucking bullshit, fucking scapegoat. It's the same shit that we saw in gaming 10 years ago. Let's drain as much as we can.
I can't redo this franchise again. What if I put real people in it instead?
Exactly.
It's the same story.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I think it goes to people's lack of understanding of perceived costs versus the ROI on a specific point of IP, right? Like, why is there Frozen 17? Because they already have the animation, they have the models, they have all of the things that they need. So until it isn't profitable, it's in Disney's best interest just to keep doing it, because they don't need to do something else. And that's what everyone else sees.
But they just halted. They fucking halted it. And I did a money dance. I did a fucking praise Jesus, praise whatever, man. I went ape shit. I was like, motherfucker, I told you. About time, you shitty fucking, because we had a space, bro.
You got what, 12 years out of that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
12 years out of the same. And then they're going to get residuals and streaming rights, and then the toys forever, and then whatever next thing. Disney's greatest W was when they realized how much money they're going to make by reselling their films.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, VHS is here? Great. And then you just make that same shit when Blu-ray comes out, and you get to make people buy it all over again.
And they do it for DVD, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you say
the
you can't even have your
deal.
DVDs anymore. You need to pay us for streaming, and you don't own shit.
Yeah, you don't know shit.
Brilliant business strategy.
Right.
Brilliant.
What if you did own shit? I had to.
Right?
That's Rain just said 10 years ago the gaming industry was all pissed off because it was the same shit, this iterative bullshit that people were just getting so fed up over. It's an inflection point. It's a natural inflection point. And we are living through it. And I think
we're here.
Yeah.
We're fucking here now, Bert. We're here.
That's it.
We're fucking here. We're here now.
And I'm not doing TA on the Ebert chart. I want to make that clear to the stream over here. Can you imagine just the visual of me just drawing lines on the Ebert chart, just trying to figure out what's going on with our
give me the Fibonacci retracement level. What's our next?
It would be an amusing reel of Ebert doing TA on the Ebert chart. Just seeing him draw fake little lines. He
would fuck that up. He'd go ape shit.
That would be.
He would just telepathically rearrange it. Print money.
This equals friend. But the last thing, real quick. So Eric, and this is where I'm saying, so the last part of this whole thing is in the entertainment industry, we're back. Independent franchises, independent studios, independent IPs are going to boom. And what I'll say is this, and what has been the solidification of this, Eric, what film won Film of the Year? What film won Film of the Year? An independent film.
Yeah.
An independent fucking film.
3.5 million for a feature film. And
you're talking about Flow?
Flow, yeah. And we talked about that.
The one thing I will say about Flow that is different than other animator features is there's no dialogue. So that changes a lot when you talk about how are you going to budget something in $3.5 million for an animated film. Counterpoint, Rise of Blues is 80 minutes with dialogue and is also $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can do those things. In Blender, they're able to just drop an image around. Blender is different than animating because you're moving the camera around to show the world a little bit. And I'm not trying to take away anything they did. I love that they won. I agree with you from an independent studio perspective. Like, yes, 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 and yes. But I think people see flow and then just be like, well, everyone could do that. And I think there's some unique things about that film that allowed it to do what it did. And I think it's putting a spotlight on that. My question to you is like, if people went to Flow, are they charging $3.5 billion for their next movie? Fuck no. You're going to pay them $10 million, motherfucker, and you're going to like it.
Exactly.
And from that mindset of, do I think this independent boom is coming? Like, I do, because as soon as people realize spending 7 to 10 million and taking a chance is better than spending 30 million on a flop, that's when I think you see like Flow 2.0 actually come into reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also won't see that for like 3 years, because the people that make that bet now is going to be in production for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you want to take the bet. Like, to Rain's point, like, now is the time where if you have the capital, if you have it, to take the bet. Because when everyone else realizes that they want to do it, you're paying the third or fourth movie price for that studio that's paying, right? You're not getting that 7 to 10 million. You're paying 22 and ecstatic that you didn't pay 30.
Mm-hmm.
But had you done it now, you would have paid 7. You could have made 3 movies for the cost of your one movie and then build out your IP. And that, like, when people recognize that part, I totally agree with Rain that you're going to see this massive level up. And Disney and Pixar and every other large corporation is too big to move swiftly as a large company to adjust for that swap in production, small scale, not large teams, great collaboration, great communication. Like, Disney isn't built to do that. It's built to have thousands of people working on a specific little part of your film, and then it all comes together. But that isn't how independent studios work. It's not how independent game makers work. It's like 5 motherfuckers that are passionate as fuck, and they just work really hard, and you're like, well, that's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, there is, it's funny. Like I try not to disparage like the grind mindset and the hustle mentality in Web3, because I do think that I think it's a really valuable part of this space, that hustle and grind and like getting it done and just like sticking with it and fucking like digging your heels into the ground is one of the really big ways to kind of rise above the rest of people who are not willing to do the things that you're willing to do. And I think that it's where the best ideas tend to float to the surface. And that's not based on antics or hierarchical bullshit. It's not based on politics. It's based on, I believe more in what I feel I need to make versus the other people in this space who don't give a shit enough. And I think that what we are seeing is there's a lot of competition in Web3 because it's a newer space. Still, to this day, it's a newer space. But I think that when it comes to the IP thing, right, this shift, I really do think it's like $1 trillion industry shift that's going to be happening. I think it's a huge amount of inflow of capital that would come into this space and find the IPs that have the people behind them that have dug their heels into the ground. So I think that I love it. I think that it's exactly the type of conversation I imagined we would have, Anaroth, because you see what we see. And I think that there's a bit of foresight when it comes to, okay, where, it's almost like a really helpful reminder sometimes, like a reassurance to like hit you both up and be like, okay, where are you at with this? We're still on the same, okay, we're on the same timeline.
You agree?
Like,
I agree. Okay,
we're good, right? Yeah. We're good. Okay. Yeah. And I think that that's what I see. And I think that it's necessitated leaving an industry that is riddled with frustration. I think that there's a lot of artists, a lot of directors, filmmakers, screenwriters, animators, people who are, having more technical jobs, union jobs. There's strikes. There's a huge animator strike happening, if you guys didn't know, in LA. Like, there's a lot going down. And there's a lot of frustration, especially in New York, the industry that I came from. Commercial budgets have skyrocketed through the roof. It's really like imbalanced. And I would say this, nature needs balance. The earth needs balance. And I think that when you have that big of an imbalance, things need to course correct and kind of find an area that achieves that balance. And I think that what we're doing and why we're here is because it feels like it offers that type of balance in what you make. It's going to give you honest feedback. Like Rain said, the value of a community being kind of intertwined with the development of an IP from the beginning is a huge value, not only from a creative level, but also for a marketing, purpose too. Like, we have people who are shouting us out on X and all different sorts of social media platforms every day just because they love what we're doing. That's amazing. That's amazing. And we haven't even released like long form content yet. So it's, yeah, go ahead.
About how you've approached this though, is that your community knows that like you are the founder of Ebert,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they know that you are deciding the direction that Ebert goes, and they buy into the belief and the passion that you have from that. If you go back 2 years ago, the mistake that so many early IP did is like, we're going to let our community decide. That is the worst thing you could do. Your community is not a group of people who necessarily have the ability to build out a character IP.
It's not a giant writer's room.
Decades, and like that mindset of like, it's just like an overcorrection towards, oh, well, everyone can participate, so I have to let them. Like, that's no, right? It's about positioning everyone in the greatest place for them to be, and then like asking on behalf of your community for what they are good at and partnering for support, right? And I think the BERT community as a whole is really good about supporting you guys, right? Like, they're hanging out in your spaces, they go in, they show up on X, they're going like, you can, like, that is exactly what you want from them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want. Like, and I'm not shitting on the people saying like, oh, you couldn't do things for Ebert. Like, you can absolutely submit your ideas, you can influence change. But I think everyone knows that like you've been working on BERT for the last 10 years. And you are the person that they want to continue to build out that IP. And I think it's just a reflection of the confidence that people have gained being in our space. Because before, like, oh, I don't know if we can do this here in this space. And now people are like, fuck yeah, I can. And I believe in myself. Let's go. And then you get to start pushing all this stuff out. But like, definitely a shout out to your community. Like, for everyone tuning in, like, W. But I think to Rain's point too, like, it's a reflection of the quality of content you're wanting to put on. Are you willing to actually go on video? Right? Like, am I not just like hanging out on my PFP on Twitter Spaces? Like, are you willing to actually put production into a show?
Right.
Sure. Right? Like, those things make a difference. And I even think about like, if I were on a space right now, I'd just be like wandering around my apartment with my phone in my hand. But here, like, I can be more animated. I can be myself. Like, it's like you just actually have a conversation. And if you're trying to build a community, you're trying to build awareness for things, dude, it just makes sense to do it.
Just
this
makes
way.
sense.
Like, why not be professional about it?
Right. And that's the thing. Like, that's what Rain was
We're the
saying.
best.
That's what Rain
We're
was
the
saying. It's like people are going to find the quality. It's like if you give a shit or you don't, if you give a shit, people will, like, the audience will find you. And yeah, it's going to take some fucking time. But where else can you get on a show and see, one of our partners with a lion in his lap? He just had a lion in his lap, and it's like that's what it's good for. I think like there is kind of this mystique, in Web3 behind the PFP, but I think that people are maybe ducking behind the PFPs either because they're scared or they have fear about being out in the public eye or doing what we're doing. And I'm not going to lie, it's fucking not easy. I mean, Ray knows this. Like he's like done this for years. So his comfort level on these types of shows is like really at like a 10. And I feel like I'm kind of at like a 4.5, 5, and I'm getting there. And I think that it is practice. And I think that putting yourself out there, it shows that I'm here, I'm building every day. I'm partly disappearing into the background that because my shirt is getting all fucked up, but I'm still here. And I think that it's just important for a community of people who have not only invested in you, but have given you their time, their effort, their creative energy. Like, look at Meyer and Desmodus and Strive, and shout out to Addy and Greco, all these people in the audience right now who this morning alone took probably a couple hours out of their day to not only read Birdathon submissions, but then to type things up on their own, tell us what they really think about. We were talking about simulation theory. Fucking incredible level of not only commitment, but like, real, like, Muon Hood, just like gang, just people really showing up and telling you that they support you, that they love what you're doing. They're encouraging you. Like, we've got people like SK, for example. Shout out to SK. I don't know if you're in the audience, but SK's been here since like, I think the beginning, like as early as HG. And he's always checking in. Hey, love what you're doing. Always checking in. Keep going. You know how important that is for a human being to just get that, like, Anaroth, you told me that one day. You're like, just so you know, take a step back and look at how far this shit has come. Like, literally just, like, take a step back and like, just for a second, really appreciate how far you've brought this to this point. And as a founder, like, that's huge. That's huge. And I always say it keeps me coming back to the desk. I fucking mean that. You know, it really does help to kind of continue that, you know, to keep the fire ignited and to keep it like really stoked. And I live in Central America. I surf all the time. I've got as much stoke as I have, not only because of our community, but it's all stoke down here. So I'm just trying to, you know, make the highest quality things that I can, bring in the highest quality partners and friends that we can find, like you two, and continue to kind of build this empire that will take time, but also with the guidance and the principles of people who know what the fuck they're talking about, who are gonna not lead us astray. And I would say, like, in the beginning, I didn't make the best decisions. I hired a KOL in the beginning. I spent like 10 grand on a KOL to like give us some posts. And that was, you know, that's 10 grand we're never going to get back. But it's also like, you know, these are huge and important learning milestones that are pretty good to get out of the way early as opposed to later. So just big shout out to the community, echoing what Anaroth said, echoing what Rain said. And I think it's probably a good opportunity to bridge us over to the birdathon that we had today. So I'm gonna bridge us over. Birdathon, baby. Let's transition over. Okay, so I gotta fix our fucking shit again. But
I love it. It's part of the show.
It's part of the show, baby. It's part of the show. So this is there's Rain. You're on. Yeah, you're on. You're in the box, and then there's Anaroth. Rain, I gotta talk to you about the whole window situation here. But hey. It's all a learning experience. And there's Anaroth, the legend himself. Okay, so I got the birdathon up here. The birdathon today was specifically about simulation theory, but we've all heard about simulation theory. And, you know, we'll make this, we're at like almost the hour mark. So I think that we'll make this pretty brief. We'll announce our birdathon winner. And I'm going to bring up a few, I think like conversation starters that I think were really, really cool to just take a peek at. And also our winner is included in that. So we'll kind of all wrap it up together. But the birdathon today it says for decades, and I can barely fucking read this because it's so small. So let me just pull this up on. Let me pull this up on X. It's so small in the window that I have. But it said, okay, for decades now, stories have circled around the idea that Earth is less a planet and more a carefully watched observatory. An organic terrarium built for observation. But the looming question still remains. Are we living inside an intricately advanced, biologically rendered simulation? Or are we simply the chaotic byproduct of random beauty, replicated infinitely across a boundless universe? I was really proud of that line, by the way. Is this a grand design? Today's birdathon starts with the assumption that we're in one. Can a simulation break while we're still inside it? And if so, what exactly would cause it to break? So drop your answers in Telegram, as we always do. The best answer will win themselves some Ebert today. And our best answer for the day was from Kraken. So I put Kraken's right down here, and he said,
"Let's go, Kraken."
Fucking amazing. So his answer was really cool, and you can just tell like someone's really putting some thought into their answer. He said, as time passes and technology advances, the idea that we're in a simulation is becoming increasingly likely. It's something that I think about quite a bit, actually. Me too. So with regard to the simulation breaking, I think the time will come, but at the moment we are on fast forward. We don't know that our simulation is being sped up. As to us, things feel normal. But one day, they will hit the play button, slowing time down from their perspective and carrying out their plan. This will be a test, an observation of how the simulation responds. What will the test be? I don't know. Could it break the simulation? Maybe. One day, we will find out. Fucking amazing. Congrats, Kraken. If you guys don't know KC, Kraken Coke, he's the founder of Gems on Base, which is a really, really cool project.
What?
Yeah, that's Kraken. You guys can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think that Kraken founded Gems of Base. And he's an honorary Bert. He's been around for a long time. And he's just, again, there's a myriad of people who have always been present and given us that support, but Kraken just sharing his thoughts. I posted a couple more up here from Emily. She's always had some really, really interesting things to say during our birdathons. And then Jake, obviously, one of our architect, Bert. Yeah, just some crazy, crazy stuff that he drops in. But yeah, you know, the whole simulation theory, the idea of it breaking, there's a part of me that thinks that it's kind of already broken in a lot of different fragmented ways. But I do I don't fully subscribe to the simulation theory as it's kind of grounded in like human logic, thinking that like we're just a bunch of code walking around. And
Like
there's
the
like,
Matrix.
yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
I'm not fully in on that. What I do know, and I read up on this guy he had a DMT experience, and someone pointed a red laser, I think, on a wall, and it was during his DMT experience, which is really like a 15-minute experience. And what he said he saw was kind of the world unfolding itself into streams of code, what he thought was code, which is interesting because I think that the DMT realm, which is really just a different dimension, is kind of, people are trying to map it. People are trying to figure out what it is because people have said that it feels more real than reality itself, kind of that effect you get when you do mushrooms or anything like that. So just, for me, I think that, simulation theory, it's something that is really fun and thought-provoking to talk about. I feel like we could do another hour on that alone.
Absolutely.
But I just wanted to congratulate Kraken for participating, dropping in some real thoughtful answers, and then also Emily, Greco, Jake, Strive, Des, as always, for responding and offering their thoughts too. We had a really good conversation going in the chat this morning. It was always fun to see. So congrats, Crack. I'll get you your Ebert today. And then I think that I didn't have anything else. I wanted to, cap it off with our Birdathon, announce our winner. I think that this was a really, again, Anaroth, every time we talk, I always walk away with a lot of not only hope, but also like a lot of motivation. And I walk away feeling like, yeah, like I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what
reassured.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, okay, yes, I'm here. I'm doing it right. Like I'm not trying to rush. I'm not trying to make rash decisions. Like we are in this kind of timeline of a transition that will take some time, but we're trying to do it the right way. And I think that, a lot of what we've talked about is bringing this kind of Web 2 world into Web 3, which is a complex problem to offer a simple solution. And I think that when we are making Who Is Ebert, our goal is to simplify what we offer and why it's novel in the most bite-sized piece that you possibly can. And really, we've spent almost a year of trying kind of to deduce what we do down to Who Is Ebert is a character franchise that anybody can own a part of. And like that for me feels like the best place to cap it off, because that is the new wave of independent animation, independent IP. It's IP that you can not only, get involved in on a community level, but that you can more deeply intertwine with on an investment and financial level too. And if that IP is successful, we know, like you talk about the perceived cost versus ROI stuff, we know what those returns look like. And they're fucking massive. So it's an exciting time to be building something real, something with high quality, and something that we really truly believe in. So Anaroth, thank you for your time as always. Thank you. Rain, thank you for being here as always. You guys are both absolute legends. Anything else you guys wanted to share before we leave it off and cut to the outro?
Say a prayer for Noun's movie, The Rise of Blues, a Noun's movie, because it is showing at Atlanta Film Festival at the end of this month, which is an Oscar qualifying film festival.
Oh,
let's
shit.
Let's just go ahead and win that Oscar real quick, so
Nice.
we can be the first Oscar-winning Web3 movie.
Come on.
Let's go.
That will make my life significantly easier. So like,
Hell
we're
yeah.
gonna manifest that. I don't know if any of y'all know, but like, we're winning. We're winning that shit. It's
You
happening.
got it.
I like
It's gonna
it.
happen.
Nouns.movie. For those of you in the community, for those of you on the show right now, go to nouns.movie. Check out what they're doing. It's a Web3 born IP. It's all Atrium. These guys they've made something real. They've made something that is fun to watch and approachable and dynamic and colorful. Go give it a watch. You won't be disappointed. And good luck to them at the Atlanta Film Festival. Another breaching of the Web 2, Web 3 wall is such a beautiful thing. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Space from the Deep, episode 26. I feel like this one was maybe a little bit smoother than 25. We're getting into a good flow. So thanks everybody again for stopping by. We will see you on the next episode. Bye everybody.
Transmitting live from the edge of the unknown.